Welcome back, fellow shop rats. It's another Talk About It Tuesday, and we're going to talk about another project that I've made a deal on, and we're going to talk about my 2012 Ram Hemi truck. And, well, the two things go hand in hand, so don't go away. This will be interesting. I'm Mike.
This is My Cars Shop.
As many of you know, I own a tech company, and we do small, medium business tech support, full service managed service provider. We do networks and printers and servers, and we manage cell phone accounts for people. And, well, we do all things technology that a small business might need, including websites and everything else. I'm not here to advertise my business. I'm just saying I deal with technology every single day. The problems that I've been having with my 2012 Ram truck are definitely modern technology issues. It's not so much computer related, but it is, but it isn't, but it is, but it isn't, but it is. But it's definitely because of some of the more modern tech that has been put on that vehicle and newer vehicles. Now, I know that's a 12-year-old truck, but still, it's still newer technology that's giving me fits and giving me grief and causing me problems. So let's give you an update on what I finally have determined is actually going on with that truck. What Mike told me at All-in-One Auto was spot on, but he didn't go into great elaborate detail because why should he? As to what's going on. Well, I've done enough research on it now, and I had misunderstood some things, and I think I finally have a handle on what's happening with that truck. One of the great challenges I find in this post-information age that we live in, I'm not even sure that's right, but in this information age that we're living in, where every bit of knowledge is available online, or at least it seems like it, and of course that means there's also 10,000 times as much wrong information available. Well, sometimes it takes a while to sort out what's real and what's fantasy and what's wrong. And I admit I've done that on this project, or I'm not on this project, but on this truck, as I had some misunderstandings of the issues with that truck. So if you go back, we've had a couple of codes that have been relentlessly annoying. We have had a cylinder number 5 misfire, and we have had an oil pressure code, low oil pressure code, causing the VVR, which is the variable valve timing, to be disengaged. Now, I've gone round and around and around to try to understand the issues, and wanting to understand the issue with the MDS system, which is the multiple displacement system, basically the 468, where it shuts off 2 or 4 of the middle cylinders, I believe it is, don't quote me on that Hemi, and causes it in steady state going down the road to only run on 6 or 4 cylinders for increased fuel economy. Now, my misunderstanding in that was this. Mike told me that the pins that are actuated by oil pressure to cause those cylinders to not fire, I thought that it overpumped the cylinders and left the valves open so that there was zero compression, and that's not true. From my understanding now, and again, don't quote me on this, my understanding of it is that it actually, when those pins are pressed, it causes the lifters to collapse partially and keep the valves closed, and then it leaves some exhaust gas in that cylinder, and it basically becomes an air sponge, just compressing and decompressing that whatever is in that cylinder, but it's not firing because the fuel is turned off and the spark is turned off, and therefore it's running on 4 or 6 cylinders. And of course, I've read a lot of people saying, well, you got the compression on that, blah, blah, blah. Well, it's such a minimal amount compared to the power that's generated by the engine. You see a great fuel increase. And I do admit that. I do see fuel mileage improvements when that system is functioning. Now, what Mike told me was that what happens on those lifters is the pins that cause those lifters to collapse get sticky, and the lifters don't work properly. And I thought it was that the valve stayed open. But what happens is they stay collapsed, and they don't pump back up like they're supposed to, because those pins are still relieving that oil pressure, which causes a little bit of a drop in oil pressure in your engine. And that can cause the variable valve timing code that I'm getting with low oil pressure. That engine is within spec, but because you can lose a couple of pounds of oil pressure, it's right on the cusp there, and occasionally it will trip that code. So I'm pretty confident that's what's happening. It may also need a new variable valve solenoid. Those aren't very expensive, but what it really needs is those 8 lifters replaced that caused that lifters to collapse in that system, and et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, that's what's going on with my truck as far as I understand it. Now, Mike does watch the channel occasionally, so if he does happen to see this, I'm sure he'll let me know, hey, your misunderstanding is incorrect, or yes, that's right, or whatever. Let me be clear that this is not new technology. This 468 technology has been around since probably the 70s. From the earliest my recollections of way back in the day when I was a mechanic. I know Cadillac had it definitely in the 80s, and it's very widespread. It's not just a Dodge thing. So this technology is not just a Mopar problem. This is a problem. And it is a technology that is used on multiple vehicles, both foreign and domestic, if there is such a thing anymore. To replace all 16 lifters, just the lifters alone are about $600. Maybe I could find them online cheaper, but that's through my local jobber. And then we need head gaskets and a few other things because you have to remove the heads on that Hemi to get those lifters out. That job is going to have to be done. Whether I do it or not, I don't know. I may take it to Mike and get it done. By the time all said and done, his markup on the parts, his labor, we're probably looking at a couple $1,000s. I'm leaning towards doing that, but I may just tackle the job myself to get it done. I'm concerned because I'm just not up to speed on all of the ins and outs of that stuff. Mechanically, I have no concerns about doing the job. I know I can handle it. I'm a certified mechanic. But I haven't been a practicing certified mechanic for a long time, and I'm not up to speed on all of the little tips and tricks and things that need to happen on these newer vehicles, and then what needs to happen in the computer, I don't know. So I think it behooves me probably to just save my pennies and take it up to Mike and get it done there. That's not my point in this video, though. What this has done is it has caused me to rethink, well, my life decisions and my priorities, as my good friend Duddy would say. And quite frankly, I've spent a fair whack of time talking to Duddy about my thoughts on this whole thing with the Hemi, because he had one that he had problems with as well, with the same kind of systems. But that's not what I was talking to him about. So I've been cogitating and planning and dreaming and, well, scheming, and also looking at my bank account and being very realistic in what can and can't be done with the limited amount of funds I have right now, since I haven't had income in 8 months. I decided that I wanted to build something myself that is built to pull my trailer, that is built for superpower, and is built for good economy. That immediately leads me down the path of going with a Cummins. It's going to be a Dodge, you know that. Yes, I did toy with some Fords and stuff like that, but I think a Cummins is probably the way to go. My dream would be like a 68 crew cab short box, 4-wheel drive, blah, 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 blah. Bloody expensive. But I really feel like I want a crew cab truck still. I like the crew cab. I like the ability to be able to have passengers in the vehicle, especially if we're going on a long trip, like when we take the Oakland up north. Stuff like that. So I really want a crew cab. So I just started going through the database in my mind of what crew cabs do I know that are around that might be had. And lo and behold, back to the same source that I got my Challenger through, I know where there's a crew cab. It's a 78 3/4 ton, 2-wheel drive, long box. It's a piece of garbage. It's rusted, it's beat up, it's full of coon crap, it's full of garbage. The floorboards are rotted out. It's got a big block in it right now that my buddy bought. But the truck can be had for a very reasonable price. I'm not going to say what that price is yet until the deal is 100%. The deal is verbally done, and with the people that I'm dealing with, when it's verbally done, it's done. So I'm not worried about it. It's nothing that's going to be to my place anytime soon, but hopefully before summer's out, we'll have that taken care of. But anyway, my plan, my thought Depends on how whole hog I want to get. But my plan or my thought is get that truck, pull the cab off, do all the sheet metal work that needs to be done to fix the floors. And the body actually isn't terrible. It's just beat up really bad, so there's going to be a lot of dent repair, some patches, shovel out the coon crap, all that stuff. Get that thing in good shape. Either look for a 3/4 or a 1-ton club cab long box chassis, which is the same as a crew cab short box, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Or maybe consider shortening this frame. And I don't want a long box if at all possible. That's just a freaking land yacht. But we'll see. I could shorten the frame. I could even shorten the box. The box is salvageable. It's no big deal to cut that. What is it? It's not 2 feet. It's 18 inches or whatever it is out of the box. I don't remember right now. And out of the frame, section that frame down and make myself my own crew cab short box out of this thing. Maybe I'll leave it a long box. I haven't decided. But the main thing is, plan phase 1 could be potentially just throw a 318 in it with an automatic, hop it up a little bit so it's got some good power and fuel mileage be damned for a while I'm looking for a nice Cummins, something I can put a little bit hotter pump on, put an NV4500 5-speed overdrive manual behind it, and be able to pull down a house. I'm done with the technology show. I am so done with it. I'm happy with points in a carburetor, honestly. Okay, Mopar electronic ignition is really simple. The thing I like about the early Cummins is they require no technology at all. You need a big heavy wire to your starter, a wire out from your ignition switch to your starter relay. That wire also from your ignition switch, a wire goes to the pump to turn the pump on and off, if I remember right. I went to school on these back when I was a Mopar mechanic. And something to trigger the heater grid so that it starts cold. That's all they need to run. Again, I may not be remembering the whole pump thing exactly accurately. That doesn't matter. The point is, it's stupid, simple technology. Stupid, simple, that just works. I mean, the fuel injection on a Cummins, it's all mechanical, especially on those early ones, if I remember correctly. And the injector pump just causes those. I know that's the way my GM was. I did go to school on these Cummins way back in 1990, 91, so I'm just really rusty. But I remember they're super simple. It doesn't take hardly anything to make them run. There's basically no technology involved, and that's what I want. I want something that, okay, I'm not a big conspiracy person, but if indeed we are come under some kind of cyber attack and all kinds of EMPs are set off and all the electronics in this country are disabled, that truck's going to run. It ain't going to matter.
I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying the thought crossed my mind.
So enter in the conversations with Duddy, because he's a diesel guy. The guy knows a lot about a lot of stuff, automotive and Mopar, but particularly trucks. So we entered into a long text conversation, and we talked about his COD, his clapped out Dodge that he has with the Cummins, and now an NV4500 stick transmission. He's got a hopped up pump on it and maybe a few other little minor things. He's got a video on it I will try to remember, but I can't promise you, that he talks about the fuel mileage that he's getting, and he's not going by his trip odometer because that's broke. He's actually calculating the miles, based upon highway miles from one destination to another and topping it off, pulling his Taco Express Dart on an implement trailer. He was getting 16 or 17. He gets 20 or more without the trailer behind it. Now you're not running 80 miles an hour, obviously, and I don't know that I'm going to get that kind of mileage with the big bread box car trailer that we have, but that sounds a whole lot better than 6 that we're getting with the Hemi right now. So, and I know those things will pull down a house. I worked on those back in the day. I remember when they first came out, and guys were getting 20 and 25 miles to the gallon with 1-ton 3/4, with 1-ton 4-wheel drive trucks in those Cummins. 15, 18, 20, depending on how it was built. And I'm just done with needing something, owning something that requires a lot of technology. I need stuff that's just going to work and that I can work on without having to spend 3 months researching stuff, because I'm just not up to speed on stuff anymore. And I don't want to be up to speed on stuff anymore. It's not that I couldn't learn. I just don't want to. I want to continue on doing the fabrication and working on the muscle cars, all the other stuff that I do. And I quite frankly think that this 78 crew cab project is going to be a ton of fun. It's going to be a great project for the channel. It's not going to be trying to replicate factory stuff. It's going to be make it safe, make it done, and just go pull the trailer and drive and have fun. It's also led me to think about Becky's car. We bought that car brand new in 2018. It was a 2018. We bought it in December of 17. $40,000 Mini. We spent a lot of money for that car. I wanted something really nice. It's all-wheel drive. It's got all the bells and whistles. It's got bumper-to-bumper warranty for 10 years and 100,000 miles. So we're in no hurry. But I'm thinking of the future of all the tech that's in that car going, while that car still has good resale value, in the next few years, not yet, but in the next few years, I'd like to sell that so somebody else can get a few years of enjoyment out of it and find Becky something that's going to be low tech but really nice for her to be able to drive, that I can work on as well. Again, it's not that I can't work on this stuff. I just don't want to have to spend the time getting up to speed and learning and learning and learning and learning. I'm getting too old for that crap, quite honestly. I just want stuff that's going to work. So that's the plan. That's what I'm intending to do. So the verbal agreement on the truck is done. Maybe I'll do an episode and go show it to you once I get a little bit further along and get it paid for. But it's a gentleman's agreement, and I have no concerns about something happening there. So, but it's a step forward. The Hemi truck will get fixed and get sold, and then we'll take the resources from that and put it into the 78 crew cab, and I'm going to come up with a title for that thing. Duddy called it, what is it, a Texas Land Cruiser? A Texas yacht? I'm not sure. But anyway, we'll have it as a project here on the channel. My intent would probably be to get the cab off of the frame right away, get it flipped up on its belly, on its back, I should say, and be able to work on the cab mounts and everything that need to be touched up. They're not terrible, but there's going to be a lot of stuff underneath to get cleaned up. So we'll squirrel that away in a corner in the shop somewhere and chip away at that as we have time. I don't intend for it to be a real pretty thing. It's going to be just get her done, probably just shoot it with Rust-Oleum as far as its exterior color, and ship it. Just put it back together as fast as possible and get it on the road to start driving it, because I'm going to need it as soon as possible. So I'm anticipating it probably being optimistically a year project, realistically probably more than that, but not a lot more. That doesn't mean we're going to be letting up on any of the other projects in the shop at all. The only thing that is going to mean is that the Golden Mullet is going to get pushed out a little bit further than I intended, but I have to deal with my daily driver situation. So, all right, that'll do it for this one. We will catch you on the next one. Drop your comments and your thoughts down there. That's what My Car Shop is all about. Make it safe, make it done, and go have fun. All right, guys, we'll catch you on the next one. And gals, I'll be here. You should be too. Rah!